Hey movie lovers, today I will show you a horror, thriller mystery movie from 2011, titled Final Destination 5. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with a scene that shows a preparation from a company that will send its employees to run a business somewhere. Sam and his friend Peter ask Sam's decision to in turn whether he wants to become a chef or become an entrepreneur. Soon Sam's girlfriend Molly also arrives, but their relationship seems to be in trouble. When their boss arrives, Sam rushes to the factory to call another friend named Nathan. They all went to the bus that was ready, but Sam felt like he had a feeling when he saw the writing on the bus. Until finally they all left, then a road sign indicated that they would cross a bridge that was in the process of repair. As their bus began to enter the bridge, Sam began to notice the activities of the bridge workers who caught his attention. The boiling asphalt in the big hole in the bridge certainly made him feel scared. Then the sound of wind made Sam become even more tense at that moment, and suddenly, the bus on the bridge came to a sudden stop. Sam lurched forward from the momentum, pricking his hand on a wire in the seat in front of him. Sam suddenly got a bad feeling. Immediately afterward, he felt the bridge shake. It seemed like something was about to happen, and he began to feel uneasy. Right at that moment, the portion of the bridge in front of the bus suddenly began to crack. Scared, Sam quickly told his girlfriend to get off the bus. The other people on the bus followed them off behind him. Peter saw his girlfriend Candace grab the guard rail on the other side of the bridge. Before he had a chance to save her, Candace died falling into the water, along with the guardrail. However, this wasn't the time to mourn. Sam held on to Peter and ran toward the end of the bridge. A man named Isaac, who had been inside the bus's bathroom, walked out to see the bus completely empty. Before he could react, the bus crashed into the water and the man met his end too. At the same time, the part of the bridge in front of Sam began to crack. Time was running out. Sam and Molly walked across to the other side using the bridge's steel beam. During this time, Sam heard his coworker Hannah's cries for help. It turned out that Hannah was very nearsighted. She was knocked down by someone while running away and lost her glasses, rendering her unable to see the road. All she could do was desperately cry for help. Sam rushed over, taking Hannah over to the side of the bridge, making her walk across the steel beam as well. Just when she was about to reach the other side, the bridge collapsed, dropping Hannah into the water. Immediately afterward, a car fell in as well, killing Hannah. Following this, Sam saw Nathan get killed by a wire rope that snapped as he was running towards him. His company manager was not spared either. Right then, Peter rushed over and jumped to the other side, grabbing the guardrail. Time was running. The bridge beneath Sam was also starting to collapse. Jumping, he also grabbed onto the guardrail. Right afterward, he watched the portion of the bridge he'd been on crashed into the water. While Sam and Peter were climbing up the guardrail, the shaking bridge caused a work vehicle to slide to the edge. The rebar on the car fell down, impaling and killing Peter. Immediately afterward, the steel plates on the car also fell down, killing Sam, and suddenly, Sam woke up with a snort. It turned out that everything had been a dream. Right then, the bus came to a sudden stop, causing Sam to prick his finger. The scene before him was incredibly similar to his dream. This frightened Sam, and he shouted that the bridge was going to collapse, telling everyone they needed to immediately get off the bus. As he said this, he grabbed his girlfriend and got out. The manager was afraid of being held responsible if the employees got into an accident, so he made Peter go bring that back, and Candace also went after them. Watching the scene outside the bus, Sam became more convinced that he was right. He sped up toward the end of the bridge. Behind him, Hannah, Nathan, Isaac and the manager had all gotten off the bus to figure out what was going on, and suddenly, the bridge began to crack, scaring everyone into running toward the end of the bridge. After Sam and the others had escaped the bridge, they saw the entire structure fall into the water. Peter asked him how he knew that the bridge would collapse, but even Sam didn't know. Afterward, Sam was taken to a police station by a detective. All he could do was tell the detective about his dream. The detective didn't believe him at all, but neither did he have evidence that Sam had caused the collapse. According to the investigation, the bridge collapse was a result of high winds and improper work by the construction crew. In other words, it was an accident. Soon it was time for them to attend their co-worker's memorial service. Candace and the others were also asking how Sam knew the bridge would collapse. However, having already told them everything he knew, Sam had nothing left to say. There was no point in continuing to ask. Peter also expressed that everyone should be happy because at least they were alive. While some of the others were leaving the memorial, the mysterious man suddenly stopped him. He said they had better be careful in the future, because death doesn't like to be deceived. After saying this, he slowly walked away. Peter said that man was probably crazy and not to pay attention to it. However, Sam did think it was that simple. At night, Candace told Peter if she didn't feel ready, so she didn't want to attend her gymnastics practice, since the gymnastics competition was in 2 days. Peter thought Candace just had pre-match jitters, so he encouraged her to go with a final training session. Persuaded by her boyfriend, Candace went back to the training room. Candace told her coach the room was too warm, so an employee turned on the poorly maintained air conditioner. While he was plugging in an electric fan, he failed to notice the cord was damaged. Candace had only just put chalk powder on her hands when suddenly she felt an ill wind blow past, stunning her. Urged by her coach, Candace began to practice on the beam. Right then, a screw fell out of the air conditioner and onto the beam. Candace didn't notice it. She was lucky and finished her beam practice without stepping on the screw. However, by now, water from the air conditioner had already fallen and creating a puddle around the damaged electrical cord. Right as Candace was walking past, another gymnast handed her a towel. After wiping off her sweat, Candace tossed the towel onto the ground. The towel landed on the puddle, letting her escape dying from electric shock. While Candace was practicing on the bar, the next person to practice on the beam stepped on the screw, causing her to fall and knock over the chalk bowl. The chalk powder was blown into Candace's eyes by the electric fan, blinded by the chalk and the pain. Candace missed the bar after flipping in the air and fell to her death. Peter felt incredibly guilty over Candace's accidental death. After hearing the news, Sam rushed over, where he saw the mysterious man again. However, after he blinked, the man was gone. The next day, Peter went to Sam with a bottle of wine, waiting to get drunk and forget everything. While they did that, Isaac was rustling through his dead coworker's desk, looking for things to steal. He eventually found a gift certificate for a massage, making him very happy. He went to the address on the gift certificate. Unexpectedly, the masseuse was a middle-aged woman. Isaac wasn't happy with this at first, but the woman's massage skills were actually very good, so Isaac let the matter drop. After the massage, the woman gave Isaac acupuncture, telling him not to move for half an hour, then the woman left. Not long after, ash from an incense stick fell and lit the towel below it on fire. Isaac anxiously called out, but no one responded, so he struggled to escape. As a result, he fell beneath the bed and knocked over a carton of rubbing alcohol. Right then, someone called him on his phone. The vibrating phone knocked over a candle, which quickly ignited a huge fire, resulting in Isaac's death. Peter told Sam about Isaac's accidental death, so a bunch of people rushed over to the massage parlor. There, Sam once again saw the mysterious man. Sam walked over to ask him what exactly was going on. The mysterious man finally told him the truth. It turned out that Sam and the others were originally supposed to die in the previous disaster, and they only died by chance. However, death wasn't going to let them off the hook. He was going to kill them off one by one. The only way to avoid their fate was to kill someone else and have them take your place. This way you can live by using the remainder of their lifespan as your home. After the mysterious man left, Peter became frightened. They were the only people left, so he can die at any moment. Sam said Molly probably wouldn't die because in his dream, he helped Molly escape the disaster. Sam's words made Peter very angry. Sam only cared about saving Molly and didn't care about anyone else, so they should all just wait to die. After saying this, Peter left while Sam and the others quickly went in search of Hannah. At this time, Hannah was at the hospital getting ready for surgery. Unexpectedly, not long after the surgery began, the doctor realized his files were incomplete and had to go get his materials. While the doctor was gone, an accident occurred. Water from a cup splashed onto an electrical socket, causing the laser machine to malfunction. The super laser caused Hannah unbearable pain. During her struggle, she accidentally broke and fell through the window, falling to her death. By the time Sam and the others got to the hospital, Molly was terrified. At night, Molly had fallen asleep, but Sam was unable to do the same because he couldn't stop thinking about the disaster in his dream. Suddenly he realized that these people's death were in a certain order. If his guess was correct, Nathan would be the next to die. At the same time, after hearing what the mysterious man said, Nathan was planning to save himself. He started the crane before calling up a coworker who was always getting in his way. While the two were arguing, the crane's hook fell down, striking the coworker. Just like that, the coworker died in Nathan's place. After receiving the news, Sam, Molly and Peter all rushed over. Although they hated what Nathan did, they also understood why he did it. After all, none of them wanted to die, This was when Sam told him about the order of death, now that Nathan had escaped. The next one should be the manager. As they were speaking, the manager walked over and was killed by a flying wrench. That night at work, Sam was extremely careful because he was afraid of an accident happening. After work, he called Molly over. He wanted to have a candlelit dinner with his girlfriend. It was then that Peter also appeared. He sat at their table drinking the entire time. He told Sam it was his turn next. He was very scared and wanted to find someone to take his place too. But after wandering around for half a day, he just couldn't kill a stranger. Unconsciously, Peter began to resent Sam. They were only in this predicament because Sam only cared about saving Molly, and not the rest of them. Suddenly, Peter took out a gun and pointed it at Molly. In the nick of time, Sam flipped the table and escaped Peter's attack. Sam made Molly hide while he went to lead Peter away. Peter didn't kill Sam because it would be meaningless, so he only knocked Sam out. Right when he failed Molly, he saw the detective standing in front of her. Peter then shot the detective without hesitation. Molly said he had already found someone to take his place, so he could continue to live, so there was no need to kill anyone else. But Peter was unwilling to spend the rest of his life in prison. He wanted to kill Molly to get rid of all witnesses. At this critical moment in time, Sam killed Peter with a cooking skewer. The danger over, Sam and Molly hugged tightly. It occurred to Molly that since Sam killed Peter, Sam should have obtained the rest of Peter's lifespan. As soon as she finished speaking, the gun that had fallen on the stove let off a shot, but the bullet didn't hit Sam. Thinking they had escaped death's plans, the two were very excited. They no longer had to live in constant fear. 2 weeks later, Sam and Molly were on an airplane to Paris to start a new life. While Sam was putting away their luggage, he heard someone yelling that the plane was going to explode, and they had to get off. In the end, the man was taken away by the flight attendants. After a while, the plane took off. Suddenly, the plane began to shake. Sam saw the engine outside his window catch fire, followed by an explosion. Sam and Molly were also unable to escape death. On the other hand, Nathan was drinking at a bar. He heard from a friend that the coworker he killed actually had a terminal illness and could have died at any time. While Nathan was dumbfounded, a part from the exploded plane crashed into the bar, killing Nathan. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more video like this. Thanks for watching this video until the end, and see you in the next video.